Hey everybody, Steven here, and today I'm doing an unboxing and setup video for the autonomous single monitor arm right here. So I've used one other monitor arm. It didn't quite work out like I wanted it to, so I just scrapped the video. So I'm hoping this is a little bit better. It is cheaper than the other one that I got. The other one I got was, I believe, close to $80. This one's 60. I think it's 58 on the website. They also have a dual monitor one as well. And I believe this holds up to 26 pounds. I have my Samsung G5 right here. This one doesn't actually have a stand that's adjustable, thus the reason for getting this. And this weighs about 16 pounds. I also have my Acer, which I'm forgetting the kind of code or the name with it, where it's all the different letters and numbers, but that's a 32-inch. That's about 16 pounds as well, which is usually my daily driver. So I'm going to use it on this for a while, and then I'll probably end up swapping them out for the final review on this. But we have our setup guide here, and then all the various parts. So the big difference between this also is the other one, it had the hinge in it, so it would stretch out, much like you see here with my mic arm, right? This one isn't. You have the pole, and then it kind of swivels out from that, which is right here. Make sure I don't drop this. So we have this right here. Build quality seems solid. Cable management right here, clear. And then we have the swivel portion here. Oh, and we have clips all along the way for cable management. I like that. So this being able to move just hopefully in a better orientation than the other one. So we have these two pieces, and then it's a disc, screws. That's the bottom adjustment plate, and that is it. That is all that you get in the box. So this right here is going to go, I believe, on the bottom for a better fitting, but I need to get this thing set up. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump ahead. I'm going to have this thing all set up, and then just kind of talk about the process of actually doing this, my initial impressions as well, and then we'll wrap everything up. So let's go ahead and cut ahead. Alright, so we're all set up here. It took about 20 minutes. Probably for anybody that's actually installed a couple of these, it'll take much less time. With me, the thing that I ran into is that the mounting bracket for this, the monitor that I have is the Samsung Odyssey G5. It has a 1000R curve, so with this, the curve is more pronounced when comparing obviously to a flat screen, but also to a 15 or 1800R curved monitor. I think those would fit fine with this. But because the curve's a little bit more pronounced, the screws aren't long enough to fit up against that. Luckily, the MSI monitor, the ultra wide that I have downstairs, actually ended up having some risers. I was able to put those in the back, and it works fine. And I'll make sure that there's a video showcasing what this actually looks like. That's really the only problem that I kind of ran into with this. Once it was attached, the other thing, I wouldn't call it necessarily a problem, I just want to make sure people are aware of it. When you do the adjustment for tilt on this, because the cool thing with this is it's not only going to pull out, right, and move back. You're also going to be able to swivel it and then tilt if you want to. Tilt down or up. So the thing that I was running into with this is the adjustment to make sure it wouldn't just fall down. So you get the hex keys to actually do all of this. Make sure you hold on to these. This big one here is going to be for the bottom screw to make sure that this actually attaches to the desk. And then for the tilt with this as well. As I'm making that adjustment just with this, so for anybody that has, maybe you have the hex, and this is 6mm, maybe you have the hex key head for a, what is it, like a wrench or a screwdriver or anything like that that would make it a little bit easier, I would recommend that. I'm not a horribly big guy. I'm about 200 pounds. I've mentioned this on the channel before. Personal trainer for going on 14 years. I do focus on strength training. I'm not insanely strong, but I can handle myself. It feels like I got this right to the very end of where you could turn it so that it would stay here without falling down. Now, since then, I haven't had any problems. You just watch me adjust it. But I bring that up just in case somebody's having difficulty. That's why. I mean, it was a little bit more difficult once you started getting towards the end. Now, once I took the stand off, I mentioned this is probably about 16 pounds. Without the stand right here, which is mainly plastic, I mean, it's not, this isn't, I say 16 pounds, it feels lighter than that. It's not a heavy monitor compared to my other monitors, my other Acer 32-inch or the MSI, and that's just for the monitor itself. The stands with those are very, very heavy, but it doesn't feel like a heavy monitor. So as I kind of push this towards the end, and it's rated for 26 pounds, that made me a little bit curious about that. So something to be mindful of. I just wanted to make sure everybody actually knew that. Make sure that you hold on to these as well, because this is how you would adjust any of the other kind of points on this where you could actually adjust it, because you're going to have multiple spots, right? So we have the main portion of this. I can move this out a little bit. In the back here, which this right here, you can do the height adjustment. The other one that I had, it would actually just pull out. I mentioned it's kind of like my scissor arm for my microphone. I actually like this. I didn't get this variation initially. I was worried I wouldn't like it, but once you set the height, you're pretty good, right? At most, you're going to be pulling this kind of towards you or pushing it away or doing any type of tilt or swivel. But beyond that, we have 1, 2, 3 different spots. We can make adjustments where if it feels a little bit stiff or you need to actually stiffen it up, it can actually make that adjustment. And then with the swivel, which is what we just talked about. Ooh, get this out of the way. So happy with this. The other big thing is the swivel, or the scissor variation that I had before. I couldn't push it back that far, and this really has to do with how much space, because as it tilts back, it just has a lot more going on in the back end. So I could push this back. I'm probably going to pull the desk out a little bit to make up for a little bit more that I could push back that I'd like to see, but I'm pretty close to that end that I would have with this anyways. I do like, and if you look at this, and I'll take this out of the way, how much real estate it frees up on my desk. So very pleased with that. This is kind of offset, and the first one I got, I tried to make sure it was, I wanted it dead center just aesthetically. I thought that was going to look more pleasing, but most of the time you'll actually see these kind of offset to the side anyways. The big thing that's preventing me from even making it completely centered is I'm limited to the space. I mean, I have X amount of space back here because on either end I actually have brackets underneath the desk here to just do cable management for me. So regardless of that, though, I think it looks really, really good. I don't think that's something, I thought it was going to be one of those things that was going to irritate me enough I wasn't going to want to mess with it, but it actually, I think it looks fine. It does have cable management with these plastic clips. Those probably one of the bigger downsides if you're running a lot of cables to your monitor. I don't think it's going to fit a lot of those. It kind of seems like, especially based off the thickness, I have a DP cable that's taken up one whole side. Then I have the power cable. I'm not going to run much beyond that. So if you have USB port expansion on the monitor and you're running cables to that aren't just USB dongles, like that may take up a lot of that where it's not going to have enough room. Then they're plastic clips. So I think there could have been a better method to actually doing that, but they work okay. I'd say if there's a downside to this, it'd probably be these. It's not enough space, I think, but it works decent enough. And it depends on, like I said, what you're running to your actual monitor. For those that aren't running a ton of stuff, it's not going to be an issue. Now, if you are, and it's not going to fit, you're probably going to need to get some ties or something like that, the Velcro ties, so you can actually just get everything situated on there. And if you're not looking at it, I don't think it's an issue at all anyways. But something I want to make people mindful of. You do have the instructions here, which it lists everything that it comes with. You have 2 different ways to do this. You have the desk clamp, and then you have the through desk, which is why you would actually have this right here for the through desk. as well as this clamp right here. So comes with both of those. This one is just going to clip to my actual desk here, and then the instructions, 1 page for installation. That's it. Next page is adjustments. That's it. I know they usually have videos on their website, which I actually didn't even think to look at that. They usually do for the chairs. I'm sitting in my chair right here from Autonomous, and then I have the ergo stool coming in as well, so I'll do a video on that. But I am overall very pleased with this so far. I'm excited for the amount of space that it frees up. If you're somebody that's actually installed these multiple times, you won't even probably need the instructions. You'll know once you actually get everything. For those that haven't, yeah, it maybe takes you a second to do it, but it's not going to be horrible once you actually kind of get that going. And if they do have a video on their website, which I'm pretty sure that they do, I'm going to make sure that I put a link for that, as well as a code for, I believe it gets you 10% off. I ended up using one. I found somebody's, but with this is normally $59. You'll get $5.90 off. Shipping is free, and then it'll bring it down to $53.10. That's a deal, in my opinion, especially compared to like their chairs. Their chairs are not cheap. This is $370. With this, I was surprised at the price point, because if you look at like the Amazon Basic monitor arm, I mean, that's $120, right? Double the price. If you look at some other ones, some other brands where, I mean, you'll have a ton of different brands, but they're not name brands that most likely you're going to know. Anywhere from, you'll see low ones that are like $30 all the way up to a couple hundred, right? A lot of the ones that I've seen in between, like the last one I got was actually $60, same price as this, but I like this a lot more. So I think the price is on point with this. And then they actually have a dual setup too, if you want to do a dual monitor setup. So I'll make sure that the link for the 10% off is in the description for you guys. I will eventually do an official review for this. I think it's going to go great. I mean, I don't foresee myself having any problems, but I'll sit with this for about a month and then talk about just my user experience overall with this. I got to do the same thing for this chair, which has been phenomenal. And then also with the ergo stool, once I get that in and I actually get to use that for a while. I'm excited about that. But that's going to be it for this one. If you guys liked the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me. Thanks so much for watching.